It's about 23,000 years ago on the shore of the Sea of Galilee. Night is cold, the wind is rude, and there is no landlord to complain to. You could sleep under a tree, you could squeeze into a cave, or you could spend hours cutting branches, hauling reeds, and building a shelter you might eventually leave behind. Humans chose option 3. At Ohalo II, people were already constructing brush huts with plant bedding. So why would mobile hunter-gatherers start putting serious effort into something as annoyingly permanent as a house? The answer was not simply because rain exists. Shelter came first, but houses became important when they started doing more than keeping weather off your face. They protected supplies, organized daily life, and eventually tied people to places and to each other. That shift took thousands of years. At Ohalo II, around 21,000 BC, archaeologists found 6 brush huts built from branches and vegetation. Later, at Wadi Hame 27 in Jordan, around 12,000 BC, Natufian communities built more substantial structures, with stone foundations, and repeatedly returned to the same settlement. That is the key change. People were no longer just hiding from the night. They were investing in tomorrow. Now jump to Neolithic China. Banpo, near modern Xi'an, was occupied roughly between 4800 and 4300 BC. Excavations beginning in 1954 uncovered dozens of houses, storage pits, pottery kilns, and burials. Many homes were partly sunk into the ground, with timber posts supporting roofs and walls made from earth and plant material. Practical, warm, much cheaper than hiring an architect. But the clever part was not the wall, it was what the wall allowed. A family could keep tools nearby, cook around a hearth, store food, raise children in a familiar space, and return to the same sleeping place night after night. Villages like Banpo turned shelter into routine, and routine is powerful. Once your grain, pottery, relatives, and entire social life are sitting in one place, "Let's just move tomorrow" becomes a much more complicated sentence. Mesopotamia pushed the idea further because southern Iraq offered ancient builders one major construction material in ridiculous quantities: mud. At houses dating roughly to 2100–2000 BC stood along narrow lanes and were often organized around central courtyards. Kitchens, drains, staircases, storage areas, and upper rooms turned the home into a small machine for managing everyday life. Was dried mud really enough to build a functioning urban home? Yes. Yes, it was. Mud bricks were shaped, dried, stacked, plastered, repaired, and then repaired again because rain has never respected property ownership. The courtyard gave families a protected place for cooking, work, conversation, and guests. This is where the story moves from shelter to storage and organization. A good house did not merely save you from the weather. It saved time. Your tools had a place. Your food had a place. Your family had a place. But there was a catch. The better your house became, the harder it was to walk away from it. A temporary shelter costs branches. A permanent home can contain your food, your work, your neighbors, and years of repairs. Humans were becoming less mobile, partly because their stuff was becoming extremely inconvenient to carry. Very relatable, honestly. Then there was Egypt, where houses became a visible map of status. At Amarna, the capital founded by Akhenaten around 1351 BC and abandoned soon after his death in the 1330s BC, archaeologists have documented a huge landscape of mud brick buildings, from modest homes to large villas. Akhenaten was basically the ancient world's most ambitious rebranding executive. New religious focus, new capital, new address for thousands of people. Subtle was not really his thing. Amarna's houses used mud brick, timber, plaster, and packed earth, but their layouts could separate cooking, storage, reception, work, and sleeping areas. Larger houses had more elaborate rooms and decoration. By this point, a home was doing something far beyond survival. It displayed wealth, it organized family life, It told visitors who mattered, and, more quietly, it created a place people could recognize as theirs. That is the final step: belonging. Once people invested years into the same place, houses began storing more than food. They stored memories. Births happened there. Arguments happened there. Walls were repaired. Floors resurfaced. Rooms changed. A building could become part of a family's identity instead of just something between a person and the weather. Here is the modern contrast. Cheap, mass-produced wire nails did not become common until the late 19th century, yet humans had already been making durable homes from mud, reeds, timber, stone, and stubbornness for thousands of years. Apparently, civilization managed surprisingly well without a hardware store loyalty card. So why did ancient humans start building houses? Because a house slowly became worth more than the effort required to build it. First, it protected the body. Then, it protected food, tools, and time. Finally, it protected something harder to measure: continuity. A permanent home let people plan further ahead, raise children in one landscape, depend on neighbors, and build routines that could survive beyond a single season. The great invention was not the roof. It was the idea that you would still be here tomorrow. And that is probably why home still means more than four walls. The next time your roof leaks, remember, humanity spent thousands of years inventing the privilege of complaining about it.